So this video was supposed to come out around the time Sonic 3 released, but obviously that didn't happen. But that's okay, because I'm gonna cover it now. What's up guys, Push here, and today we're gonna dive into the topic of whether or not the movie Sonic cast would be able to defend against the Saiyan Invasion. Like I usually do, I'll scale the stats of both characters and their respective verses, and then see who would win in a hypothetical cross-verse matchup. With that being said, let's get into the scenario. It would be easier to just have everyone going against Vegeta and Nappa from the get-go, but where's the fun in that? I want to have a little fun with this, so I split the invasion into two parts. Part 1 takes place around the end of Sonic 2, and Part 2 takes place after Sonic 3. In Part 1, Raditz shows up on Earth and starts looking for high power levels like he does in canon. However, instead of sensing Goku, he would sense either Sonic's power level or the Master Emerald. Either one is sufficient. In this scenario, Raditz has to face off against Team Sonic consisting of Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails. With that being said, let's dive into the scaling of all four characters. Since Raditz is the easier one to scale, I'll start with him. As a baseline, he should easily be getting into the Moon level attack potency tiers, as he would upscale Master Roshi's Moon busting feat, which is bare minimum Moon level. He is also stronger than Goku, whose Kamehameha is stated to be moon shattering, so there's some nice consistency. The highest you can get him is large planetary, since Master Roshi's moon busting feat is actually calculated to large planetary, albeit it's a high ball. That's a good cap for Raditz, since he isn't stronger than Nappa, but he is stronger than all the Z fighters at the time he arrived. Raditz would just scale him of the many instances of light dodging feats in OG Dragon Ball, which would get him in the FTL to FTL plus ranges. You can try to quantify how much faster than light he would be using power levels, but all that matters is he would be in the FTL tier. As for hacks and abilities, Raditz just has the normal basic DBZ stuff, punch, kick, ki blast, all that. Overall, Raditz is moon to large planet level in AP, with FTL speeds in all categories. With that being said, we can move on to Sonic. As a baseline, Sonic can get into those island level ranges via the shockwave Eggman created using his quill in Sonic 2, which was calculated to be around island level. Sonic should scale to it obviously since it's his quill, but this is still a relatively low end. Pushing it up a bit, we could take Maddie's statement hyper and say that Sonic is strong enough to trigger a global cataclysmic event. Then you could get him anywhere from country to continental depending on the destructive output of said global extinction event. So if you want to say Sonic scales to the meteor that killed the dinosaurs, then sure, knock yourself out. For a higher end, we can use the shockwave that Sonic caused in Sonic 1. There's a calculation that gets it to island level since it knocked out all the power in the Pacific Northwest, but it doesn't take into account the fact that it reached all the way to Tails planet, which is across the universe. If you take that into account, a calculation asserts that Sonic would have to be exerting anywhere from small planetary to just baseline planetary amounts of force. Once again, Sonic scales to this since, well, it's his power. Knuckles scales to this as well since he basically one-shots a version of Sonic that should be stronger than when he performed that feat. And while Tails doesn't necessarily scale to or below Sonic, at worst he just downscales from that amount of power. I don't think it's controversial to say that Sonic and Knuckles can't one-shot Tails, and that he would at least put up a decent fight if they ever came to blows. As for speed, Sonic has multiple instances throughout the first movie where he's able to just completely statue normal humans, and even missiles, which can get him anywhere from relativistic to FTL. In his novel, he's stated to move in hyperspeed, which is another synonym for just basic FTL. However, a higher end of his speed we can use is the shockwave he created in Sonic 1 that reached all the way to Tails planet. A calculation asserting that the shockwave had to be moving around 109 trillion times the speed of light, which is MFTL+. If you think Sonic scales to the shockwave, which he should, then he would also be capable of moving at those massively faster than light speeds. Knuckles and Tails scale to this as well, since they're able to keep up with Sonic, though at worst, they would just downscale. Doesn't make much of a difference. So overall, Team Sonic will find himself in the island to planetary ranges of attack potency, with massively faster than light combat, travel, and reaction speeds. Can they defend their Earth against Raditz? Let's get into it. So So yeah, in my opinion, I think Sonic alone could take Raditz, let alone the entirety of Team Sonic. Both can get into the same planetary ranges of AP, but Sonic is just so much faster that he can literally punch Raditz a million times before he even perceived the first punch. Adding on everyone else in Team Sonic is just overkill. If you don't agree with base Sonic being planetary, then Super Sonic is definitely planetary since he would just upscale base Shadow, who's able to power the Eclipse Cannon, and he's also capable of holding it back. Once again, Sonic is fast enough to Perception Blitz Raditz like 1,000 times over, but if worse comes to worse, those emeralds are coming out. In this scenario, after Raditz is defeated, he would relay info to Vegeta and Nappa either about Team Sonic or about the Master Emerald. They would either come to harness the power of the Master Emerald or just be interested in Team Sonic. In canon, they decided that they should exterminate the human race out of fear that a hybrid Saiyan would grow stronger than them, so I can easily see a scenario where they would just want to take care of Team Sonic just out of precaution, or just for fun. Whatever their motive is, all that matters is that they're coming to Earth in a year. Now to be fair, we will be giving Team Sonic the knowledge of the Saiyan's arrival in a year, so they all get time to prepare for it. During this time skip, the events of Sonic 3 will take place, so when the Saiyans eventually do show up, Team Sonic would have two new members. Obviously, the first one being Shadow the Hedgehog. He pretty blatantly scales above base Sonic, but he also has his own planetary feat in being able to power the Eclipse Cannon, which is capable of destroying Earth and everything in a 2,500 mile radius. The second person I want to add is actually Amy. I know Amy only shows up at the end during the post-credit scene, but she's shown enough that I think we can scale her. I will admit that this scaling is based on assumptions and speculations, but hey, my video, my rules. Who cares anyway? So Metal Sonic is usually equal to Sonic or around at... Metal Sonic is usually equal to Sonic or around his level in most iterations of the character, so I don't see any reason why this would be any different in the movies. I think this would explain why Eggman asked Sonic for another quill. We didn't actually see him do anything with it in the movie until the end where he stabbed Gerald with it and killed him. Eggman created Metal in the game, so I think it makes sense that he would create Metal Sonic in the movies using Sonic's quill. We see in the post-credit scene that Metal is able to take a punch from Sonic, so I think this theory makes sense. This is important because Amy one-shots an entire army of Metals right in front of Sonic. I'm not saying that Amy can one-shot Sonic or anything, but I think bare minimum she could probably damage or keep up with him. Based on her feats against Metal, I'd place her below Sonic and Knuckles but above Tails, which is where she scales in the games, so that's pretty nice. With that being said, we can move on. Since the other two Saiyans are finally showing up on Earth, I think we should just cover their scaling now. Starting with Nappa, he pretty much just upscales Raditz. If Raditz is planetary on a high ball, then Nappa sits there comfortably. Nappa doesn't have any showings above large planetary, so he remains in that tier for now. But where it gets interesting is when we talk about Vegeta. Vegeta should be well into the dwarf to even large star level range. As for starters, as a child, he surpassed his father, King Vegeta, which means he upscales his feat of casually wiping his hand, which was able to destroy 3 planets, which is dwarf star level. Vegeta has his own feat of destroying a planet to a large star level yield. And yes, both scenes might be considered filler, but we can still use them for scaling since Toriyama considers filler to be canon. So now we have Nappa and Vegeta showing up on Earth, crash landing into a city in their Saiyan pods. Let's say it's Tokyo. Nappa lifts his 2 fingers and levels the entire city, and Team Sonic gets the news. They pull up to the large crater where Tokyo used to be while flying in a gun helicopter, and they all jump out like how they did in Sonic 3. Then they all land and the fight starts there, Nappa versus Team Sonic. Now I do think Team Sonic would be able to take on Nappa, but Nappa definitely would have fun with them. I don't think Sonic would be able to take Nappa by himself. I mean, sure, he's way faster than him, but I don't know if he would be able to pummel him like he does Raditz. Nappa might lose if everyone on Team Sonic rushes him at once, but that wouldn't happen if they're all fighting Cybermen. But they probably could all one-shot the Cybermen anyway, since they're all way faster and should be hitting harder, since the Cybermen are equal to Raditz, who Sonic could handle alone by the first movie. and everyone scales to a stronger version of Sonic than in Sonic 1. I do think Team Sonic would be able to edge out the victory against Nappa, but they might need their super forms. Now, if they all get through Nappa and their next opponent up is Vegeta, honestly, I think this might be where they stop. Maybe though. Vegeta at this point is easily star level, which is just better than any on-screen showing from Sonic, so he should be able to defeat them, even with Sonic being in his super form. Even with Sonic being in his super form, he wouldn't be able to defeat Vegeta, and while he might be thousands or millions of times faster, he wouldn't be able to put a dent in Vegeta's armor. We know Sonic can become exhausted from overexertion, so yeah, one Gallet gun is sending Sonic and his friends to the Shadow Realm. Maybe. If you're wondering why I keep saying maybe, it's because there is an argument to be made about Sonic scaling above star level. Did I say star level? I meant universal. See, one thing that remains consistent throughout the films is that Sonic has unlimited energy. Eggman states it in Sonic 1, it's stated that the Master Emerald has unlimited power, and Sonic harnesses this power in its super form. Having infinite energy on a 3D scale will grant you high universal attack potency. If you want to make that case, then sure, Vegeta is nowhere close to being uni. Characters don't start getting infinite power statements until the Android Saga, and they don't consistently become universal in my opinion until the Buu Saga. But by then, Sonic would be boxing with the likes of Majin Buu, and Saiyan Saga Vegeta wouldn't even be in the discussion anymore. So, can the Team Sonic from the Paramount film trilogy survive the Saiyan Saga? Probably not. They could get through Raditz and Nappa, but Vegeta is just an entire tier above them. The only way to get Team Sonic above Vegeta is to take statements about his power to be hyper-literal and ignore his anti-feats. In my opinion, that argument simply just doesn't hold up, so yeah, Vegeta would defeat Team Sonic probably low to mid difficulty. But what do you think though? Do you disagree with something I said in this video? Let me know in the comments below, and if you liked the video, consider subscribing. Also, I recently created a Discord server, so I would appreciate it if you could join that as well. As always, see you next video.